Hey folks, Dave back here, back from the cold hockey rink, from the frozen tundra of the hockey rink, and we're gonna play some hockey tonight. Here, I got home and said I want to play some hockey tonight. So let me just get the chat room set up here. Can we play a little bit of football earlier? As we played some game-winning drive as I'm going through the 1970. Don't know why I'm on 1970, but I'm on 1970 Boston Patriots, and they're terrible, and I don't expect them to win a game. They lost they won opening day against Miami in real life, but they did not win on opening day against Miami in in my situation. Huh. This is kind of weird. I'm getting a crazy message here on my. Huh. I wonder why. I wonder if it's the name. Yeah, Shootout EZ, and I think they're limited ad. Maybe because I called it Shootout. Wow, that is really weird. I have limited ads on this, so that means something's wrong. I don't know what's going on here. Something's really wrong. So, oh well, we're gonna play it here anyway. We're gonna have some fun. I just called it Shootout Hockey, and it's like, oh, this is not suitable for ads. I'm like, what? It's a hockey game, probably because it's got the shoot in there, right? I think that's what it is. All right, so we're gonna play here tonight. I got the chat room here, so I don't need to call it up on my phone. This world is, you know what it is? It's the automatic technology here that tries to pick up on everything and keep you safe, and it's just picking up on everything. People on Facebook have been complaining for weeks about how come my post isn't up, and how come it's got to be approved, and how come this, and how it's like we ain't doing anything. It's just what ends up happening is just the algorithm picks it up and it says, yeah, no, we can't. We don't want to use this because blah 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 blah. And it's like, so all these people's posts just about their games are not getting posted, and it's just not. This has nothing to do with us. So anyway, did I feel the earthquake today? Yes, I did. I did. That was crazy. I was sitting down here at my other desk over here, and it felt like once in a while when a truck goes by, it rumbles the house, or sometimes when the furnace kicks in, it rumbles the house, or sometimes when we got a big plane that comes out of our small airport, that'll rumble the house. And it was rumbling and rumbling and rumbling and rumbling. It's like, okay, what is going on here? And I says, is my furnace acting up? Because sometimes when you get the washing machine that's off kilter, or the dishwasher, or whatever it is, and it makes, that's what I thought it was. And I was like, no, it's something. And so I ran outside. As soon as I got outside, it stopped. And I didn't hear anything. I was like, well, they're not working on the highway. And I come back downstairs and find out that we had the little rumble from that earthquake up in Maine. Yeah, it was weird. I've never felt one before. That's the first one I've ever felt. All right, so anyway, with limited viewing here, because whatever reason, they don't like the title of my video, let's go overhead here. And we're going to play some Shootout EZ. Alrighty, and I got a handful of seasons here, so I'm going to pick teams from 5 different seasons, and we're going to play 5 games because they play so fast. So we got 1970 here. Who do we want to play in 1970? I really don't know if I want to play the Seals here. What's a good choice for 1970? Well, Buffalo would just join the league, so they're not that good. Oh, let's play Minnesota. I like Minnesota. And what do we think here? I like looking at the goalies. Well, they're an expansion team here. Dave Dryden, Roger Crozier. I'm a Crozier guy. Now, these are fairly new. I don't know many of them. Philadelphia, Toronto, Jacques Plante, Bernie Parent, Henderson. Yeah, what do you think about this? What do you think about Toronto and Minnesota? All right, so we will play Toronto at Minnesota. Not that it really matters here. Well, it might actually. So we're going to play Toronto at Minnesota. And I'm going to show you how to play Shootout EZ. It is super, super easy. So the first thing we have to do is figure out who's in net. So Toronto is away. And Minnesota is home. Okay. So that's what we got. We got Toronto and Minnesota. So now we got to see who's in net. So we're going to roll here, and we'll start with the visitors. All right, so we got 63. So it's actually going to be Bernie Parent. So how this works, if I can do that so we don't get much of a glare. So how this works is 11 to 36 is Plant, 41 to 53 is Gamble, and then 54 to 66 is Parent. So Bernie Parent's going to be in net for Toronto. So it's going to be Bernie Parent. Now let's see who's in net for Minnesota. It's going to be Maniago, Worsley, or Gilbert. I have 45, so it's going to be Gumper. All right, we got Gump Worsley in the net. So Parent and Worsley are our goaltenders. So now what we need to do is figure out our offense and our defense. Okay, so now in this particular season, you don't have to roll for this. In some seasons, the goalies can be a couple different ratings. In fact, in 74, 75, they have different ratings. Okay, and I'll show you that when we get to 74, 75. So Bernie Parent's going to be a C in net. So Parent is a C. Worsley is also a C. And now let's take a look at the offense. So for Toronto, on the road, they're either going to be F or G. All right, so we're going to roll Toronto first. And they're a 1, so they'll be F. So they have the better of the two offenses. And Minnesota will be home. And with a 5, they'll be F2. So we have a pretty even game here going on in Bloomington here between Toronto and Minnesota. All righty, so now let's take our charts. This is a free game, by the way. This is free, so you don't have to. This is something if you go to the Shootout website. You still need to buy the cards to play it, but the game is free. The Shootout EZ version is free on the website. So we're going to take a look here. We're going to get our EZ rating. So our offense is F, and the goaltender is C. So we're going to be -3 for each of them. -3. So we got a pretty even game. Okay, so what's going to happen here is we're going to roll a 100-sided die, or a 100 die here, the 2 10s is what I'm getting at. And we're going to look at the chart. And so -3 is right here. So in order to get a goal, you need to get 60 or better right now for anybody to score, because, again, both teams, our EZ rating is -3 for both. So that's where we are right now. Okay. And we're going to go period by period. So here we go. So first period, we're going to roll for Toronto first. The visitors will roll first. And here we go. And so we have, a 93. That's good. So a 93 is all the way up here. So they're going to get 2 goals in that first period. So Toronto starts off with a bang. They get 2 goals. And Minnesota on -3 as well, and they got a 56, and that's going to be absolutely nothing. So nothing for Minnesota. So 2-0 Toronto after 1. You see how fast this game plays. Toronto again. A 77, and a 77 is going to be here, so they'll get 1 goal. So they're up 3-0 here against Minnesota. All right, can Minnesota get any offense going at all? Nope, 27. That's going to be here, and that's going to be absolutely nothing. All right, so 3-0 going into the final period. Toronto, at a 75, and that'll be here for another goal. So right now, Toronto's got 4 goals, and they lead this one 4 to absolutely nothing. Minnesota's last gasp, and a 19 is not going to do it. That'll be 0. And so our final score here in Minnesota, and this is 70-71, and it's going to be Toronto 4 and Minnesota nothing. And Parent with the shutout. And if you wanted to, you could go back and roll or flip to see who gets the goals and the assists. There are ways of doing that. But tonight we're just going to get final scores, if you will. But what I would do is I would take out my shootout cards, and I would flip those and get the identify the goal scorer and the assist. So you could kind of backdoor all that there, if you will, all the scores. All right, so that is that. So that's our first game. And congratulations to the 1970 Toronto Maple Leafs as they will pick up the win here over the Minnesota North Stars. So I'm going to put these cards away here, and let's go on to our next game and our next season. Incidentally, if you get the 100 here, see all the question mark? It's a rare play chart. And I helped John with his rare play chart. We got some pretty good ones in there. We got some pretty good rare plays, I must say. All right, so let's see who's up next. All right, so we're going to go to 74-75. Cards a little bit bigger as the seasons get newer. And you can see on here how the goalies now have a rating. So Esposito's either C or D, Visor's H or I, and then Dumas is either E or F. And over here, Favell is either F or G, and this guy, Dunk Wilson, is either F. I'm not going to use any reserves tonight, so I'm just going to go who was on the card. So let's see. You probably want to play the Scouts, right? Because we're in 74-75. So let's see how bad the Scouts are. I'm going to save the Atlanta Flames for later. So we got Kansas City. And who's going to play Kansas City? I don't want to destroy them. They actually beat Boston in real life. Detroit. We want to have Detroit, Kansas City, or Pittsburgh, Kansas City. With a goalie. How about L.A., Kansas City? Rogie Vachon. Vancouver with Gary Smith. Yeah, let's do a Vancouver, Kansas City. How about that? All right, so we're going to do a Vancouver, Kansas City, 74-75. So Vancouver is coming into Kansas City to take on the Scouts. Let's see if they get some good officiating, right? All right, so now we're going to see who's in net. So let's roll first for Vancouver and 13. So that'll be Gary Smith. So I think that's Gary Suitcase Smith. So Gary Smith will be in net. And over here, 33, it's going to be McDuff. McDuff, the crime dog. All right, so Smith and McDuff are in net. And let's see what they are for a rating. Oh, boy. Smith is going to be E, because, again, the D has to be 3 or less, so anything beyond a 3 is going to be an E. So Smith is an E, so the defense is E. I think what we want to do is put the other defense over here, because we're going to cross-reference this. That kind of doesn't matter. You can go either way. So let me do this just to be safe. So that'll be E. And 6 for McDuff. Oh, he's going to be an H. Whew. H is pretty bad. So we're going to make McDuff an H. All right. Let's make sure that's an H. Doesn't look like an H, but it is. All right. So let's take a look at our away team is going to be an E. So their offense is E and their defense is E. And Kansas City at home, oh boy, they get G. They're G and H. They're terrible. That's an H, by the way. All right, so again, we crisscross. I was going to do them across, but I'm going to crisscross. All right, so let's take a look at our chart. And so we have Vancouver E going up against H. So E going up against H. So they will be +3 on the EZ rating. And Kansas City is G on E. So G on E is -2. So those are our ratings that we're going to look at today. So we have +3 and -2. So here we go. First period action here in Kansas City. It's Vancouver taking on the Scouts. All right, so let's roll our dice here and see what we can do. So, again, we're +3 and -2. So +3 is here, so we got to get 20 or better. That's not too bad. I'm not sure how Kansas City could win any of these games, but oh boy, a 93. And we said +3 on a 93. That's going to be 3 goals. So Vancouver gets 3 goals in the first period. Kansas City a -2. They got to get 48 just to get 1. And nothing. 0-4 is absolutely nothing. So 3-0 Vancouver here after 1 period. So again, a 17, and that's going to be nothing. So they keep them off the board in the second period. On the -2 now. On the -2. A 1. Even if you're a +10, you don't score on a 1. So 3-0. Vancouver as we go into the third here. And a 69, giggity, 69 on a 3, and that's going to be good for 2 goals. So they have 5 right now. And Kansas City, they're going to need a miracle roll here. And a 26 is not going to get it done. And Kansas City, they also get shut out. And this score is 5 to absolutely nothing here in 74-75. So, a couple of shutout games here. I guess I'm picking the bad teams, if you will. So that will do it for 74-75. Yeah, go Scouts, so they got rocked. All right, let me hang on a second. Get some more hot cocoa here. Got my new Digital Dice mug. I had a nice one with a red. And that day I heard the smash upstairs. She dropped it and broke it. So yeah. so I ordered actually 2. They had another sale on Cafe Press. That's where we have all the Digital Dice stuff. And so I got the black one and the red one. I like the red one better, but it's like I'll get 2 that way in case she breaks it again. All right, so what are we going to do in 79-80 here? I said I was going to play Atlanta, right? So I'm going to have to play Atlanta. That was their last season. And who's going to play Atlanta in 79-80? How about the New York Rangers? Alrighty. In fact, I think the last game ever for the Flames was against the Rangers. It was a playoff game, I think. And, yeah, AP calls it. Atlanta and the New York Rangers. Yep, there we go. So this is 79-80. And it's going to be New York Rangers taking on Atlanta. All right, let's see who's in net for the Rangers. All righty. 43. So we're going to get Baker in net. I'm going to have Baker in the net for the Rangers. And it's going to be the Bouchard or Riggin. And a 14 says Bouchard. So Dan Bouchard. I don't know where Phil Muir had gone at this point. He might even be in St. Louis or something like that. All right, so let's check the all right, so the goaltender ratings on this season, again, there's just a 1 rating. So Baker will be an E. And Bouchard is also an E. So let's roll for the offense. So the Rangers are away, and they'll be a D. And home, well, they're a D no matter what they are. So we got a nice even D on E matchup tonight between the Rangers and the Flames here in Atlanta. And Bobby's got some crazy wind over there. It was a little windy today. I didn't get the dog out. I was like, it's too windy today. Kind of a little cold and windy, so I don't want to do it. All right, so we got D and E for both, so it's going to be the same. So we're going to go D and E. Those +1. So each team will roll off of +1. All righty, so that's easy enough. So here we go. So we're looking here at the +1 column, and it's the Rangers and the Flames. Again, it just says shoot out easy. And YouTube wanted to demonetize my video because I think it said shootout. Imagine that. I wonder what they're going to do with all my old shootout videos. Well, it is what it is. I don't want to get in trouble with YouTube because I'm playing shootout hockey, but it is what it is. Oh, I didn't notice it had the records here. So they won 38 and they won 35. So they're pretty close. So that's why it's an even game. So we said we're looking at +1 for each, right? Kind of APS. Does it factor in home ice? Well, yeah, because you got the home and away ratings at the top here. Goalie doesn't change, but it does factor in up here. So you can see Atlanta. Well, they're D and D, but they could be an E on the road. And New York is B and C at home and D and E on the road. So, yeah, so depending how they did home and away, it will factor in. Yes, it will. And the regular shootout game will too, you know. And World's Worst Gamer said he still hasn't played Ultra Quick Hockey. It's the same thing basically, Sean, is you're going to have a home rating, an offensive rating and a defensive rating. And so what you do is you look at this team's offense against this team's defense, and you're going to get a rating. And that's the same thing. Offense versus the other defense, you're going to get a rating, and you roll on the chart like we're doing here. So this is kind of similar to that. I do like this one here because it factors in the cards that I already have, and I can figure out my goalies and the whole bit. And if you wanted to, you could figure out who gets the goals, and I'll show you how I do that. Yes, you can, if you want to, Bernie, it shows you who scored the goal, and I'll show you that after this game. So it just kind of do it the same way you play the game. It's something that I come up with, actually. When John created this game, he didn't put that in the instructions. I think it's in the alternate instructions, but there is a way. I come up with a way to find goals, and I'll show you what it is. Okay, so let's go here. So we are +1 for each team. So we're right here. So we need a 31 or better to score some goals. Ooh, a 54, and that'll be good for 1 goal for the Rangers. So the Rangers have a goal here. It's 1-0. Now, if you wanted to figure out who did the scoring, alrighty, and there's ways you could probably factor in, figure out, Ultra Quick Hockey has a really nice way of finding out who got the goals and what time. So you could use that. Or here, if you want to use shootout, then what you would do is say, okay, if the Rangers scored a goal, let's see who gets the goal. All right, so it's going to be, we got a rare. We don't want that. So we're going to go to who? Another rare. Isn't that just great? Y. So Y is going to get the goal. And Y is Beck. So Barry Beck would get that goal in the first period for the Rangers. And then you want to see how many assists you got. It's going to be the same way you do auto assists with a shootout. So it's going to be L3 and D1. So Beck is here. So it's going to be L3 and D1. The first assist goes to the left wing, so it's going to be Duguay. And the second assist, we go flip one more. It's going to be the center. So Barry Beck from Duguay and Walkachuk would be the goal scorer and the assists in that situation. So you would take the cards and look for the who, and then go through your typical assist route for shootout hockey. That's something that I added to Shootout EZ. John was okay with it. I think he put it in the alternate instructions. When I did a video on this, I did that, but it works. Because again, you're just identifying the goal scorer and you're identifying the assists, and that's kind of what it is. So, I'm sorry about that. I'm trying to get some more light on these cards here. For some reason, I love this camera, but it dulls it out a little bit. I think it's the automatic setting. All right, so let's see what the Flames get. Alrighty, so it's 1-0 here in the first. And now it's the Flames' turn. And again, they're +1 and a 74, right? Let me just double check. Yeah, +1. A 74 is all the way up here, so they're going to get 2. So the Flames are going to get 2. And it's 2-1. And again, you could flip and look at the who and just kind of go by here on the scoring numbers or letters, rather, see who got the goals if you want to do that in the assists. So 2-1 Flames here as we go to the second period. Again, +1, very even game. 58 on the +1 is another goal for the Rangers. So the Rangers have tied it up at 2-2 with the Flames still rolling here in the second period. And a 24, nope, nothing. So we are tied at 2 going into period 3. I don't know if they did overtime in 79 or 80, but we could play it if we had to. Ooh, an 89 for the Rangers. Wow, that's a 3-goal period. So they get 3 by Bouchard here. That should be good enough for a win. That's 5-2. I don't know if the Flames, they're going to need to roll very high to tie this one up. And, ooh, a 75 is just 2. 2 goals here. And that is that. So it is a 5-4 win here for the Rangers. And that is that. So there's no OT in 79. Okay, I forget when they brought that in. It was mid-80s or something. All righty, so the Rangers pick up a 5-4 win over the Flames in 79-80. And so we shall put this one away. And you see how fast these games play. You can theoretically play a game in 1 minute. You can get the ratings, write it down, roll the dice, and you can be. I time myself a minute 5. I did games in a minute 5. All right, so up next we have 85-86. Okay, let's see here. So they only get 23 wins, 17 wins. They're terrible. 37-37 for Buffalo. Boston, I should get a Boston game in here, but I don't know if I want to do 85-86. That was not a good year for them. Vancouver, I've already done. St. Louis, 37-34. Chicago, Long Island with Kelly Rudy. Oh, what do you think about Quebec? 43 wins? Yeah, we'll do Quebec. So Quebec and Hartford. We could do Quebec and Hartford, maybe. That's a maybe. Toronto I've already done. Washington had 50 wins. Montreal with 40. How about we do a nice little Montreal-Quebec game. Battle of Canada. What do you think? And we'll play it at the Forum. Alrighty, something I don't usually do. I don't like to play games at the Forum on my table, but we will. All right, so it's going to be Quebec and Montreal. Let's see who's in net for the Nordiques. 62 is going to be Mario Gosselin. And you can see how they get worse as they go down, because, again, you're going to start with your better guy up here. So Mario Gosselin, and he's going to be an F. So Gosselin is an F in net because there's no split roll on this season. Is it going to be Patrick Waugh? 63. It's going to be Doug Sotart. Wow, so neither team playing their starting goalies here in my my little late night thing here. So Doug Sotart is going in net. And he is a D. Wow, why is an E? Sotart's actually the better goalie. That's interesting. Okay, so now let's take a look to see what happens here with Quebec and Montreal. So that's going to be bad for both teams. So Quebec's going to be an E. And Montreal at home is going to be a D. So both teams rolling pretty poorly here. So let's take a look at what we have. So we have, for Quebec, they're E going against D. So E going against D is going to be -1. And Montreal is D on F, and they'll be a +2. So being at home is definitely going to help them out here. So -1 and +2. So that's a pretty decent swing between the two. All right, Quebec's up first. So we said -1 and +2. So Quebec on the -1. Let's see what they can do here. Again, high rolls are better. 3 is going to be absolutely nothing. So nothing here. They can't get by Sotart. Get anything by Sotart. Montreal. Oh, we got a rare. Ooh, this is going to be fun. So we're going to go to the rare chart. Dun dun dun. So let's see what the rare chart says. We're in the first period. I got a 7. It's a breakaway. Chance for an additional goal. Your skater has a 1-on-1 against the goalie. ID the shooter and get the result from the slot. Okay, so we got a breakaway here. So we're going to need the cards. So where are my cards? So we're going to identify the shooter and take a shot from the slot. So here we go. All right, I'm just going to dig out and pull out. I'm going to pull out this card here in the bottom. And A, so we're going to get Mats Naslund. Okay, so Mats Naslund on the shot, and it's from the slot, and the slot is a goal. All right, so on the power play, so Mats Naslund scores. So Montreal gets a breakaway goal, and that's in addition to their roll for the period, because that's a rare play. And again, one thing we specified on this was that you this is an addition, so it's a chance for an additional goal, and you still refer to this chart, then roll for goals scored in the period. So we haven't rolled for goals scored yet. So we get 1 plus whatever we're gonna get here for Montreal because of that breakaway, and they are a +2. So Montreal with a 17 on a +2. That's absolutely nothing, but they will get the 1 for the breakaway goal, and so they lead 1-0. So we go back to Quebec who was -1. I love the rare plays. I do. I really like them in this game. And 11, absolutely nothing. So Sotart is shutting out the Nordiques here. And only that breakaway goal by Naslund on the board. A 59, and we said Montreal was +2. A 59 comes up here, and they will get 2 more. So they're having a nice, easy time in Montreal. Now, what I like to do is I always roll for the team that's ahead or, the visitor if we're tied. Because if I roll for Quebec and they don't get it, then it's kind of like getting no runs in the top of the ninth. Why play the bottom of the ninth? So I'm going to roll Montreal first, just to clarify. It's just what I like to do. So a 25 for Montreal, and they're +2. That's going to get them 1. So that'll get them 1. So Montreal now has 4. So it's 4-0. Quebec's going to need a ridiculous roll here on the -1. Right, so they're -1 and a 68. And that'll be good for 1. So they'll get on the board. But they will lose this one 4-1 here in 1985-86. So that is that. A good time was had by all in Montreal. So that is 85-86. I got one more season here. Again, you can play 5 games on the sheet, so we'll play 5. And we'll try to have some fun with this tonight. Before we sign off, I'm going to have the last bit of my cold cocoa. All right. My arm is really, really bad tonight, and I didn't do anything. I do not want to have surgery. I don't know what my option's going to be. All right, so 90-91. This is one of my favorite seasons to play. I think I will have to play Boston in this one. We'll play at the Boston Garden. So they won 44 games. Who do we want to play against Boston? Winnipeg? With, well, they don't have any good guys here yet, 90-91. Calgary? Already played Atlanta, didn't I? Edmonton? Vancouver, I already played. Toronto, I already played. Oh, what do you think about the LA Kings and Gretzky? Yeah, what do you think? Let's go LA Kings and Gretzky. All right, so LA at Boston in 90-91. I went to a Kings game at Boston. I think it was before Gretzky, though. It was in the 80s. No, it had to be after Gretzky because I think I went with my wife, and so that would have been it could have been early 90s. It might have been right after this. Larry Robinson was on the team. Okay, so Larry Robinson's still here. All right, so let's see who's in net. So it's going to be Kelly Rudy or Daniel Berthiaume. So at 26, it's going to be Kelly Rudy. So we're going to have Los Angeles and Kelly Rudy going into the Boston Garden. And who's it going to be? Is it going to be Mo Glemlin or even Norm Foster? That's going to be Moog. Andy Moog. Okay, so Rudy's got a split. Moog does not. So green die is a 2, so that'll be a D. So Kelly Rudy is a D. And Moog is a D. So let's check the offense now. And we got 5 and a 1, so they barely... Oh, wait, they're away. So they'll be a D. So Los Angeles offense is a D. And Boston's home with a 1. They'll be a C. So slight advantage to Boston in this game. Okay. Lesa Lazaro. Remember Jeff Lazaro? He was pretty fast. Daniel Berthiaume. I think he ended up playing with Boston for a while, didn't he? All right, so let's take a look at the chat and see what we're going to have for numbers here. So we have D and D. So D and D, D and D, D and D. It's going to be absolutely nothing. So an easy rating of 0, and Boston will be a C, D, and that'll be a +1. So Boston with a slight advantage here. So 0 and +1. I will never remember that. That's why I keep lifting up the thing to check it. All right, here we go. All right, Los Angeles rolls first on the 0 column. And a 35 is good for a goal. So they will beat Moog for a 1 goal. And Los Angeles leads this one 1-0 here at the Boston Garden with Boston's turn to roll. A 45, and that'll be good for a goal. So we are tied at 1 here after 1. Los Angeles, a 56, and that'll be good for 1. So LA leads this one 2-1, or they got 2 goals, if you will. You could call it whatever you like. Boston, 77, and that's good for 2 goals. So Boston leads this one 3-2. And again, they're leading, so I'm going to roll Boston first. So Boston, again, on the +1. A 60, and that'll be good for another goal. So Boston has a 4-2 lead here, and LA on their last roll. Here we go. Last roll for LA, and a 50. That'll be good for 1. And that'll do it. So the final score here is Boston 4, LA 3. And so that is shootout hockey in a nutshell. Alrighty, let me put my lights back over here. And yep, so we'll recap the night before we sign off. That was kind of fun. I saw this sitting over here in my folder. I says, I got Shootout EZ, and I've not played this in quite some time. I've been meaning to pull out Shootout, and I said, this would be a good chance to play some EZ. So here's what happened tonight on our tabletop. We had Toronto in 70-71. Toronto went into Minnesota and beat them up pretty good, 4-0. In 74-75, well, Kansas City took it on the chin as Vancouver went in and beat them 5-0. So we had 2 shutouts. Then in 79-80, the Rangers hung on 3 goals in the third on Bouchard, and they would hang on for the 5-4 win. And then we moved to 85-86, where Montreal took care of business at home with Doug Sotart in the net, as they got a pair of goals in the second, and they win this one 4-1. Then in 90-91, the big goalies, Kelly Rudy and Andy Moog, went head-to-head. Boston eking it out. That second period with 2 goals seemed to be the difference in that one. So that is that. So a little bit of Shootout EZ tonight. Hope you enjoyed that. That was actually fun. It was fun just to kind of to bang on a few hockey games tonight and pull out the shootout cards. I haven't done that quite some time. So anyway, we'll see what goes on tomorrow. Jucket, I don't know when Jucket's on next. I should be on tomorrow or tomorrow night. I might be having some APA football on tomorrow because I'm not working tomorrow night that I know of. And so I should have some time to have some fun here and play a nice big game tomorrow. We'll see. And you like the old Canucks pennant behind me? Yeah, that's kind of neat, isn't it? I like that myself. So I got to keep shuffling them up. I keep mixing them up from time to time. But anyway. All right, so I'm Dave. I hope you enjoyed this one. And we will talk to you later. Have a good night, everyone. Bye-bye.